Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here. I have just come back from Cerulean City where I won my Cascade badge. I got it from the gym leader Misty, who I interrupted her makeout session with her new boyfriend. I don't think she's too happy with me, but that's okay. I didn't only go to visit her, I also went to visit my friend and Pokemaniac, Bill, a fantastic man who created the Pokemon PC system. Well, I say fantastic because that's what the world says about him. He created the PC system, he created the time capsule, time travel, that's amazing. He's also a lover of rare Pokemon, it's just common knowledge, people seem to know. But then again, there is something odd about him. Of course, based off of our own real-world Bill for creating the PC system, he is allowed with this system for every trainer everywhere to store their Pokemon in Bill's PC, a part of the system that allows you to just keep your Pokemon aside for when you need them. So that is pretty cool, but as I say, there is something off about Bill, and so that's what today's theory is going to explore. It's a bit of a mad one, and actually we've done a theory about one of Bill's relatives before, a possibility that one of his relatives may have been Valerie, the Kalos gym leader in disguise. And like that theory, this theory doesn't rely on one singular giant bit of evidence, it works off of lots of little observations to paint a bigger picture, and that's kind of what it's all about. So take this whole thing with a grain of salt, because it is a mad one, but it's one of my favorites. So, Bill, why have my suspicions about you started arising? Well, it's that line of dialogue I showed you earlier. The people of Cerulean know that he is a collector of rare Pokemon, which is odd because Bill is not a Pokemon trainer. Maybe he used to be, but it seems unlikely because given his young age, well, he's created the PC system, the ability to time travel, interdimensional travel, I'll talk about that in a bit. He's done a lot. Supposedly, according to the people of Cerulean, his first Pokemon was an Abra, and given that he came from Goldenrod, that makes sense. However, what makes more sense is that he may have just won it from the Goldenrod Game Corner. A lot of what ifs, but seeing as no one ever refers to Bill as being a trainer, just a rare Pokemon collector, it's possible that he is one of those collector types, which, as we know by the second movie...
I'm afraid I'm not a trainer, young lady. I am merely a collector.
Those guys are always the villains. More suspicions about Bill started arising when I realized that he's in two places at once. Literally, the guy is both in the Sevi Islands and Cerulean City at the same time in Fire Red and Leaf Green. Then again, maybe it's rude to have a go at someone just because they're in two places at once. Yeah, you tell him, other me. Shut up, me. But what if I told you, and this is where we start getting wacky, that there's not one Bill in Fire Red and Leaf Green, actually, there's multiple. In fact, there's multiple Bills and every Pokemon character because Pokemon exists within a multiverse. Yes, the Delta episode confirmed it. All of Pokemon happens within a multiverse where you have games like Ruby and Sapphire are parallel versions of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And in fact, Ruby is a parallel version to Sapphire, and Emerald is a parallel version to those, and your copy of Sapphire is a parallel version to my copy of Sapphire. It gets deep. In fact, there's even enough evidence to suggest that the Pokemon TV show is just another parallel version of the events of the games. And in fact, even our own real world could be a parallel version of Pokemon. Just this is the universe where Pokemon don't exist. Don't believe me? We've talked about it in a video before. Parfum Palace is supposedly the Palace of Versailles. It's almost identical with a Hall of Mirrors, and look, does that really look like AZ? No, it looks like Louis XIV. Supposedly, it's been moved by the interdimensional traveling Pokemon Hooper, so we know that it's possible, maybe, that Pokemon could come from the Pokemon world into our own. And the games are also suggesting crossovers with the show when you talk to Steven in the Delta episode where the idea of the multiverse first comes up. Here Steven tells you about an encounter he had with a man who had a black Charizard, that being Alan, who is an anime character. And the idea that Ash Greninja might be in Sun and Moon, that's still speculation though. Point is, the boundaries between these universes are blurry, and I'm not surprised the amount of holes being ripped in them just so you can transfer your Blaziken from Ruby version all the way to a Mega Ruby version. People have worked out how to transfer Pokemon between multiple universes. I say people, actually, it's Bill. Bill invented the Time Capsule, a machine that literally allows you to transport Pokemon back through time in the Gold Silver games, and by the next game, he's transferring Pokemon to different sets of games. And thanks to the work of his colleagues and other Pokemon scientists, they've worked out how to break down the boundaries completely, so now you can literally send your Pokemon from one game 10 years ago to a current game. It's also worth noting that within the realms of the games, creating dimensional portals is exactly the plot of the Delta episode. The plan is to use infinity energy to create a portal that is going to allow for a meteorite to pass through it and destroy some other parallel world. Infinity Energy is the same thing that AZ's weapon used to kill all of those Pokemon and bring AZ's Floette back to life, and the people who learned how to manipulate and use this technology are the people that worked on the new Marvel project. There's already been theories about that. And while Watson and Captain Stern are some of the main people that worked on the new Marvel project, Bill had a hand in it as well. Because when receiving the Clear Bell or Rainbow Wing from Captain Stern, he tells you how he got this item from a boy who came from Johto who was working under him, and this boy's mother was one of a special group of dancers, this being the Camino Girls. And Bill's mum was a Camino Girl, so clearly he's talking about Bill here. Again, just solidifying Bill's knowledge of interdimensional travel. That means there's an infinite number of Bills in parallel universes, one of which is the one from the show, which is where he's at his weirdest yet with his green hair. On the door of his lighthouse is a carving of Mewtwo, a Pokemon within that timeline that he shouldn't know about the existence of yet, unless he works for Team Rocket. It would actually make more sense in the game version if he knew about Mewtwo and if Mewtwo was carved into his door, because Mewtwo is in Cerulean Cave, so that kinda makes sense, but not in the show, and this has led many people to believe that he either works for Team Rocket or he's a time traveler, or both, and I think there's a good reason to think both, because Cerulean City is often invaded by Team Rocket, and they even have a recruitment officer who works just outside of his house. And that's interesting that they never go after Bill, knowing that he is a collector of rare Pokemon. It's common knowledge that people of Cerulean know this, and Team Rocket's goal is to acquire rare Pokemon. Maybe they never go after him because Bill is a member of Team Rocket. Heck, in the games he gives you his ticket to the SSN, which we know in a different version of reality, and we know if he's jumping through realities, this is possible, that Team Rocket had a plan to invade the SSN and steal everyone's Pokemon. And he said the reason he didn't want to go is because he doesn't like fancy dues. Well, if it's the parallel version of him from the show, I'm doubting that very much. So hang on, we're speculating that at least one of these infinite versions of Bill, which actually is likely because they are infinite, is evil. He is an evil mastermind who created the PC system, the time machine, the interdimensional travel. He's a lover of rare Pokemon. Maybe he works for Team Rocket. Maybe he's just evil. An evil time traveler super genius. Let's say all this is possible. Which Bill started it all? Which Bill is the evil timeline version? Because if you look at Bill's achievements, for his young age, he's a collector of rare Pokemon, he created a time machine, interdimensional travel, the PC system. It's a lot for one lifetime. It actually makes a lot of sense if he's had support from other lifetimes coming and sharing their knowledge with him. So which version of Bill in which parallel universe is the one that's the most intelligent? The one that has the most knowledge about coding the games and rewriting the structure allowing for interdimensional travel? Well, that would be our version of Bill. Maybe. Again, the idea of interdimensional travel between our world and the Pokemon world is supported by the members of Game Freak that you can find in Celadon City, the creators of the games themselves. Given that there's an Eevee on the top floor of the building in Celadon City where Game Freak are, and Bill and his colleagues are the ones most likely to give you an Eevee in the games, it seems likely that Bill paid them a visit. And that would make sense too, because as a collector of rare Pokemon, he would love to talk to Game Freak, the people who write the code, and then he lives in Celadon City where it's easiest to exploit the Mew glitch. Again, manipulating the code of the world around him so he can acquire rare Pokemon just where he lives. I'm just saying, it makes a weird amount of sense. But why? What is all of this for? Why is Bill time traveling and interdimensional traveling? What is his end goal here? Simply, it's to catch them all. Whether he works with Team Rocket or he's simply a lone agent, one thing is for sure, the PC system is the most deadly system in the whole of Pokemon. Yes, it allows all the trainers to store their Pokemon, but it is called Bill's PC. He has people all over the world maintaining it, but not only would he be able to take the Pokemon of all of the trainers of that particular region, he'd be able to take the Pokemon of all of the regions, in all of the different games, and their remakes, and all the different parallel versions. He would literally catch them all. Every Pokemon from every version of reality. Let's hope it's our real world Bill, trying to bring them into this world. Okay, I know this whole video has been absolutely nuts, absolutely mad, and as a theory it's still a bit confusing as to what the point is. But mad is good, especially when it comes to Bill, and in fact, Bill even addresses himself as such. He says, "Hi, my name's Bill. I'm a true blue Pokemaniac." Let's just hope Bill in our world isn't the one from the evil timeline. This theory was not entirely my own. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, just a fun thing. But it was also helped develop by one of you on Patreon, Cybernex. So thank you for joining me in that Skype call to discuss this theory. I have a vlog channel now where I'm going to be vlogging, no upload schedule. There's videos. I'm going to put a link in the description. If you want to check that out, you can. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of these mad ramblings. Not even really a theory at this point. And of course, thank you to my 3 big patrons of the month. Megapixel, Chaos Otter, and Marcus Kinder. So hi, Pokemon Masters. Oh, Pokemon Masters, hang on a second, don't go anywhere. One, thank you so much to, I think it's Lord Froggy, for doing this end screen. Links to him in the description. Second of all, thank you to you for bearing with me. I haven't uploaded anything in the last 2 weeks. Obviously, naturally, views have gone down and subscribers have gone down, and that's all fine. Thank you for sticking with me. We're nearly 100,000 subscribers, and that is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure I'll do something cool for that, although I actually haven't thought what yet, so let me know any ideas you have in the description below. Also, if you're a Patreon and you pledged for the month of August 2016, which is this month, feel free to request a refund on that pledge if you want. The option is there. Yes, it helps the channel, and yes, it's been funding things that I've been doing for the channel, including this new end screen. But also, I know I haven't been uploading as much this month, so if that's something you want, I've already posted on Patreon, so hopefully you've seen that. Thank you for just bearing with me, and we're nearly 100,000 subscribers. Things, I promise, are only going to go up from here. So hi, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master!